name is Rebecca Brazil with the Museum of Fine Arts Houston. Welcome to Glassell-on-the-Go at Home, Section 4, Stretching and Exploring. This is a video for Project 3, Abstracting Text Through Layering. For this activity, we're going to be using both additive and subtractive methods to convey and deconstruct text. So I will go over what all of that means. And a good way to help me do that is by looking at the artwork that we have on our handout. So the piece of artwork that inspired today's project is Mark Bradford's Circa 1992. So when we look at this, one of the things that stands out to me first is all of the layers. So you'll see a lot of colors in the background, even though there's a whitewash on top, it looks like there's a lot of layers of paint. And then as you look at it, you'll also notice that there's text. So text is very important to Mark Bradford's work. He actually started out hand painting signs for his mother's salon. And then as he got older, he started thinking and looking at signs, thinking about signs and looking at them and realizing they say a lot about the neighborhood you live in and the type of people who live there. So he started collecting physical signs and both collaging and decollaging with them. So that's where the additive and subtractive part comes in. So he would cut out an area and then glue it onto it, cut out an area of the sign and glue it onto another area. And he would just continue doing that over and over and over again, and also incorporating paint. So lots of layers. And as he was doing that, the text starts to become almost a little blurred, like parts of it stand out, other parts of it disappear. And that's what I mean by abstracting text. So let's look at his work again. Can you make out what it says? I see that there's words. I can read some of those words and others I cannot. So what I like about that is if it was very easy to read, most likely as people, we would read it and then move on. But because it's abstracted, we want to figure it out. So it draws you in, it makes you spend more time with it, and maybe even people come away with different meanings because you can't quite make out what it says. So those are some of the things I want us to do today for this project. I want us to think about the signs that are around us in our community or on our food products, or maybe even whatever you're seeing online, and pick out some keywords. And then with those words, we are going to layer them with stencils and paint. So we'll begin abstracting the meaning and then the actual visual text. So let's go over the supplies we're gonna need. The supplies that you'll need for this activity are a wooden canvas or panel, 3 different colors of acrylic paint, cardboard letter stencils, some kind of cardboard scrap cut into a small rectangle so that you can use it to scrape paint, a flat tip paintbrush, water and a water cup, either a paper plate or a painter's palette, liquid glue, and paper towels. Once you've gathered all your supplies, the next thing to do is pick which words you want to use. So you can choose one word if you want. I'm going to use 2 words, but you could do more if that's what you want to do. And the 2 words that I see all the time are now and easy. I think both of those say a lot about the everyday life of Americans. We want things to be very fast and we're not patient most of the time. And so yeah, we want things to be immediate. We want them now. So those are the words I'm gonna use. Feel free to use whichever words you want. And now I'm going to zoom in so that you can see what I'm doing, and I will walk step by step through the process with you. Before I get started, I'm going to show you my example that is on your handout. It's dry now, but you can see where I've used my 3 colors of acrylic. I have white, black, and green. And I've just layered the text over and over again. And then I've used my cardboard to scrape areas of paint. And then the last thing that I did to add this like 3-dimensional area is I glued down my actual stencils. So that's something that you can do too if you want. I'm going to set that aside. So for my example, I'm going to use black, white, and green again. So I have easy, and I have picked out my letters for now. Gonna go ahead and get some paint out. And it really doesn't matter what colors you start with. You're gonna use all three. So just go ahead and get all three out and on your plate or palette. So I think I'm gonna start with now. And I'm gonna just do it a few times going this direction. So the way that I approach doing this, first, dampen your paintbrush. You just want it a little damp so that it helps to smoothly apply paint. And I think I will start with white. Well, it might be easier for you to see black actually. So I'm gonna start with black. I'm just going to hold this down with my fingers. That's one thing with this project, it's paint, so it's messy. Make sure your table's covered and put on clothes that you either don't care about or wear an apron, and your hands are going to get paint on them, but this paint washes off easily, so don't worry. So I just hold it down and fill in the open areas with your acrylic paint. What I like about this project is you're going for a kind of sloppy look. I don't know if sloppy is the right word, that's what I use, but so you don't have to worry about things being perfect because we're gonna do multiple layers of paint. So if it goes out the lines or it's a little, I don't know, like too thick in one area, too thin in another area, don't worry about it because this is the bottom layer. All right, I have my first now. So I can decide, do I want to keep going in this direction up, or do I want to reverse the letters? Do I want to put the letters upside down? You can just have fun with it. So I think I will do my first layer all black and all kind of uniformed, like facing the same direction. And since I know that, I can even go ahead and do all of my ends because I've figured out my spacing for now. Okay. And then I can go in with all of my O's. If you are a person that likes things to be very nice and neat, you know, you can figure out ways to measure this out in kind of like a grid system and have it on there as perfect as you want. The nice thing about acrylic is it dries really quickly. So as I'm finishing these, hopefully my ends are already drying. With painting and doing layers, there's a lot of wait time, but if you have a blow dryer at home, you can do that too to speed it up. My other advice is that since we're doing all of this layering and we're kind of hoping to blend the colors, don't worry about it being dry. Just keep going with your other colors on top of this black, and it'll probably come out with a really interesting effect. Okay, I'm on my last W, and then I'll be done with my first layer. Let's see what you think. See how fast and easy that is? So I'm just gonna keep working with both words. You know, now it's time to do easy. So I can decide, do I wanna go straight on top of my now? Or maybe I'll flip it and go in this direction with easy. Let's see how that'll go. I'm gonna try with my white now. So make sure your brush is super clean. And then afterwards, even dry it off because you just want it to be clean and a little damp. So you can see my hands are already getting super dirty, but it's okay. You can wash your hands in between colors if you want. Okay, so same thing. I'm just gonna hold this on and fill in my open areas. So what I'll show you, if you can't see it already, is that my white and black, because my black is wet, it's blending. Okay, almost done. Let's see how it looks. I like it. I'm gonna keep going. At this point, I've done quite a few layers. I'm gonna give you a look. But I wouldn't consider it finished. I would keep going with more of the text as well as more of the layers of scraped paint. So once you finish all of that, the last thing that I like to do, you definitely don't have to, is incorporate some of these, like collage on some of these letters that you've used. So once they're completely dry, just use your Elmer's glue or liquid glue, glue it into place where you want it, and then put something heavy on top, like maybe a piece of scrap paper and then a book to protect your book. And that's gonna make sure that it's on there nice and even and it's not rippled. So once you've done that to cover up these cardboard edges, I'll show you an example. See how this is fully integrated in? All I did is once that glue dried, I went back with paint and either did it with a paintbrush and covered those edges, or I used my scraping tool. So that's it for our studio. Thank you so much for being part of Glassell-on-the-Go. Bye.